Did you watch experts who claimed that the only difference Ukrainian citizenship makes is the right to own agricultural land? Don't believe in this nonsense, as citizenship implies different rules of work, military service, international protection, visa-free travel, voting rights, intellectual property protection, education, and many more rules. My name is Sergey Alexandrov, I'm the founder of Legal Ideas law firm, and you are watching a channel with real legal analytics from expert lawyers without blogging and populism. Now let's clarify what Ukrainian citizenship really does and doesn't provide. The great advantages of Ukrainian citizenship is the ability to travel the world without needing visas. According to Wikipedia, the Ukrainian passport ranks 29th globally, offering visa-free access to 147 countries, including all European Union member states. Foreigners who hold Ukrainian visas, temporary residence permits, or even permanent residency are not entitled to these visa-free travel benefits as they apply exclusively to Ukrainian citizens. Ukraine maintains diplomatic missions, including embassies, consulates, and other representations in approximately 82 countries around the world. This means that Ukrainian citizens can access notarial services and other government functions in those 82 countries. In addition, under both international and Ukrainian law, Ukraine's overseas diplomatic missions are authorized and obliged to protect the citizens and Ukrainian businesses. Even though many people are aware of the moratorium on agricultural land ownership for foreigners, very few know that every Ukrainian citizen has a constitutional right to receive a land plot free of charge. The size of the plot can be up to 0.25 hectares depending on its location and intended use. In practice, you might not get the exact land plot you desire, but overall, obtaining some land for free is a realistic possibility. As I have already mentioned, most people know that only Ukrainian citizens can own agricultural land. Foreigners are currently deprived of this right. Agricultural land is not always a field or a farm. Often when you want to buy a house in a Ukrainian village, there is a high chance that the house may stand on an agricultural land plot. But it is very easy to check the status of any land plot online on a special state-owned database. So far, foreigners can use such alternatives like renting agricultural land for up to 50 years, which is the maximum rent of land allowed by law in Ukraine, registering the ownership title on your Ukrainian friend, relative, a company to have them own the agricultural land instead of you, or getting Ukrainian citizenship. Voting is not only the right to elect, but also the right to be elected. This means that whether as a voter or a candidate, you can influence and help determine Ukraine's future. There is now a strong desire among the Ukrainian diaspora in Canada to participate in Ukrainian elections both as voters and candidates to help rebuild Ukraine after the current war ends. All Ukrainian citizens aged 18 and older have the right to vote in national and local elections as well as referendums. Ukrainian citizens also have the right to be elected. This includes elections for the president, parliament, local councils, and mayors. Voting in Ukraine is free, voluntary, equal, and secret. Ukrainians living abroad can also vote at designated polling stations in embassies and consulates, primarily in presidential and parliamentary elections. If you are considering becoming a mayor or deputy in any Ukrainian village or city, a member of the Ukrainian parliament, a state prosecutor, a police officer, or holding any similar public office, you must have Ukrainian citizenship. This requirement exists in part because many of those positions involve access to state secrets. So if you're thinking about a career in Ukrainian public service, obtaining Ukrainian citizenship is essential. When it comes to employment, Ukrainian citizenship is not essential for working in Ukraine, as foreigners generally have the same rights and obligations as Ukrainian employees. However, before a foreigner can begin working, the employer must obtain a work permit on their behalf. Naturally, no work permit is required for Ukrainian citizens. Additionally, foreigners who hold permanent residence in Ukraine are also exempt from the work permit requirement. You also don't need to be a Ukrainian citizen to own intellectual property rights in Ukraine. However, while foreigners must hire patent attorneys to register their IP, Ukrainian citizens can handle the registration process themselves. Citizenship is not required to conduct operations with securities. However, non-residents are subject to certain additional procedures, such as more rigorous financial background check by banks. It should also be noted that Ukrainian citizenship is not currently required to join the Ukrainian armed forces or other military units. Moreover, service in these units provides a simplified path to citizenship for service members and their close family members. You may have heard that healthcare in Ukraine is free for Ukrainian citizens. However, it is also free for permanent residents, and some medical services are available free of charge to temporary residents and other foreigners as well. For parents and young people, it's important to know that school education in Ukraine is free for everyone. However, higher education is free only for Ukrainian citizens, foreigners with permanent residence, refugees, and in some cases for members of the Ukrainian diaspora. Citizenship is also not required to receive a Ukrainian pension. If a foreigner works in Ukraine, they have the same right to a Ukrainian pension as Ukrainian citizens. Moreover, official employment periods from other countries may be counted when calculating the pension depending on existing agreement. At the same time, it's important to check whether Ukraine has an international treaty with your country that regulates the specific terms of calculating and paying out pensions. The same applies to unemployment benefits. The rules are similar to those for pensions as described above. Ukrainian citizenship can influence a foreigner's tax situation, but what matters more is whether the person qualifies as a Ukrainian tax resident. Several factors determine tax residency, with citizenship being one of them. However, the most significant factor is typically the number of days spent in Ukraine during a calendar year. These are the main differences and advantages of Ukrainian citizenship. My name is Sergey Alexandrov, I'm the founder of Legal Ideas Law Firm, and you are on a channel of real legal analytics without blogging and populism.